Hello, Podsmashers of the Internet, and welcome to another episode of
80-Bit Podsmash.
Where
80-Bit Podsmash.
where gaming goes to grab a beer. We are your hosts.
Penguin and Termite. I'm Penguin.
I am Termite, and we are a weekly video game podcast smashing together ideas that you care about with video games.
That's right, and tonight we're going to be talking about portable gaming, which is different from mobile gaming. We had a whole episode on mobile games, and this time we're talking about portable games. Similar but different. The differences which we will highlight in the main topic, but first...
We
are where gaming goes to grab a beer. So what beer are we drinking tonight?
You bought it. You talk about it.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
that's how it works.
Fair. Yeah, so I got
a
a Beta Pecan Ale, which is called Go Nuts, but Go is spelled Geaux, like, so it's pronounced the French way of Go Nuts. I don't really know what that word means, so anybody who's a French speaker or knowledgeable about the French language.
Yeah, I wonder if it's actually an adjective.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Yep.
Or maybe even a type of nuts, but I don't think so. That would be too convenient.
It would be, wouldn't it?
So it is, so I bought it because I was going to a friend's house to play a game, and I wanted something fall because I was in the mood for fall, but I wasn't quite in the mood for a pumpkin ale. And the person I was going to doesn't like to drink pumpkin ale. So I was like, okay, fine. This pecan ale sounds really good. So I grabbed it, hoping it would taste like a pecan pie, where it's like kind of, I was hoping it would be more sweet, I guess is the bottom line. And it
sweet in the
tastes
good way.
Nutty, but it tastes nutty in the same way that like every brown ale tastes nutty.
Yeah.
So it really just tastes like a brown ale, which is fine. I don't hate brown ales. But I think I told you, I said, it's very unremarkable. It's not bad.
Yeah,
just
good. That's a good description.
Yeah.
It's like I took a sip of it. It has a little bit of a metallic taste, and then it fills your mouth with delicious pecans or pecans, and then it's just a boring brown ale on the back end.
Right,
it goes down, and you're like, oh.
So it's kind of
It's a roller coaster. It's like, oh.
But like a really boring roller coaster, like with one hill. And you're like, wee! Oh, okay. All right.
Yep.
So the back, I'll read the back though, because that's always the thing.
Oh,
so,
yeah, that's fun.
Pecan ale is made with real Louisiana roasted pecans.
Louisiana.
I suppose I should be doing this in a Louisiana accent. Nutty flavor and aroma. It's brewed with a pale Munich brisket and caramel hops with a Williamette hops. The roasted pecans are then brewed in the brew house. Crack one open and good nuts, because it is a French. So I just did 3 accents. I did Louisiana, I did French, and I did Munich. I'm not quite sure on that German accent. I apologize.
You're making me want to play Red Dead Redemption 2 again with all that.
That's fair.
Saint Denis.
That
game is so good.
It's a good game, yeah. It's a good game, but it is one that you're like, okay, if I'm going to commit to doing this again, I'm going to commit to do it. I better have nothing else on the plate if I'm going to replay Red Dead. So, all right. Yeah, that's what we're drinking. Cool.
Yeah,
it's all right. It's all right.
Falls in,
It's an okay beer.
All right. So what is going on in the gaming industry this week?
Yes, tell me.
It's some good fun things coming. There's a Sony State of Play announced, finally.
Ooh, excitable.
After many, many months of silence and an absence from E3 and no one really knowing what Sony's up to, and they're not talking to anybody, and there's a very limited list of games that we know about, what's going on with them. So it's coming Tuesday, September 24th. So look out for that. And we speculate that there'll be a Last of Us Part 2 release date. At least that's going to, if there's any big news during that, it's probably going to be it. I don't really know what else to...
Makes sense.
Maybe they'll update us on Ghost of Tsushima. That would be pretty sweet.
That would be awesome, too. Release date for both. Give me both.
That would be sweet. There has been recent activity on the Japanese side of Shuhei Yoshida.
Do you think they'll announce the officially announce the new console?
Not with this. I don't... Okay. I mean, maybe they would. This is an avenue for it, but that has been speculated and rumored to be announced in February.
Okay.
But Shuhei Yoshida, the Sony CEO of PlayStation from Japan, he has tweeted, or at least spoke in an interview in a Japanese newspaper or magazine. I can't remember the source exactly, but he comes out and says that whenever he plays Ghost of Tsushima, he is absolutely stunned by how gorgeous Japan looks in that game.
Nice.
And I was like, ooh, I can't wait.
It's excitable.
Yeah, it is. So maybe we'll get an update with that. It'd be pretty cool.
Really quick, speaking of announcements, announcements of announcements, I guess. Did you see the news about E3? And how 2020 E3, they're changing it up.
Look at you bringing news to the table.
See, I read my news feed gets stuff
Lay it on me, Penguin, man. What's going on with E3?
From what I could tell, and I didn't read that deeply into it. I think I got interrupted when I was halfway through the article. But from what I could tell, it seems like they're going to be trying to make it more consumer focused.
Yeah.
Which, again, speaks to the history of E3. We've talked about that in previous episodes how E3 went from being, back in the day, it was something where there was no internet, there was no live streams, there were no broadcasts or YouTube. So it was literally just like, hey, journalists, we're going to give you all the announcements so that you can spread them to the people.
Right.
So E3 was originally conceived as like a middleman thing.
Yeah, it was never consumer focused.
Right, exactly. But then then all those things I just talked about, live stream, there's no need for the journalists anymore because they can just point a camera and beam it directly into people's cell phones.
And Nintendo's doing it. Sony's doing it.
Yeah. So E3 has become more and more consumer focused, but now they're like going all in and they're making it. They're going to be doing like festivals and they're going to be setting up more PlayStations. They're going to be setting up more stations for which you can play and demo new games and hardware and all that stuff. So it's going to be. This is good. In the past, they've had like multiple days that are media only, but now they're only doing one media day. And then they're opening it up to consumers to come.
Interesting.
Yeah.
There's a lot of conversations we could have about this.
There are. Yeah.
One is the relevancy of E3 in general, which you've just alluded to, and that's kind of in question. But two, I was listening to a podcast where somebody had written in. They're from the UK, and they were asking the podcasters who regularly go to E3. This is a kind of funny thing. So I always shout out to Kind of Funny because they're awesome. I listen to them all the time. But they were asking them about what I'm going to go to E3. What's the best use of my time? What should I do there? And like, is it worth it? Because I'm going to be 30 and I'm going to celebrate. Well, they answered with, don't go to E3. Go to PAX.
Yeah.
Because E3 is not consumer friendly.
Yeah.
And all you do is wait in line if you want to play a game for 2 to 3 hours and you play a game for 5 minutes and you repeat. You just do that.
Yeah.
And so in one day you can see 4 games max. And that's a 12-hour day on your feet, which is exhausting.
Right.
And you don't get to go to any of the cool keynotes. You don't get to go do stuff. You don't make appointments with developers because you're not a media person.
Right.
And there's even exclusive booths that you can't walk up to that look open. Like they're just there and you're like, oh, sweet, I'm going to go see Cyberpunk. And you walk up and they're like, media badge only.
Yeah. Well, it's like,
how do I even know?
E3 has kind of become the de facto Comic-Con for video games, even though that's not what it was originally conceived as.
Right.
And originally intended for. So it does seem like now they're trying to make it the Comic-Con of games. And I think there was a statement in the article I read, there was a statement from Nintendo saying, yes, bring it on. We may even be there if you do that.
Right.
Yeah. So
that's what Nintendo has always been.
They're trying to lure Sony. I think it looks like they're trying to lure Sony in as well and be like, hey, look, we're going to make this more of what you guys actually want it to be, which is consumer focused, news and events and everything oriented around the people who are going to be buying the games, not the people who are reporting on the games or reviewing the games.
Right.
Yeah.
It's interesting the foresight Nintendo had because their Nintendo Direct's idea is exactly
that. Yeah, exactly. It's just beam it right to their eyes. Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we wanted to talk about that the whole
that's
time,
great.
but you're right. That's a good topic.
So the next piece of news was a new Pokemon from the Galar region was announced.
Yay.
And that is Sirfetch'd.
Sirfetch'd.
He's the evolved form of Farfetch'd.
Hasn't he been memeified already? I'm pretty sure that
there's stuff all over the internet. Yeah. This was teased as a glitched Pokemon and people were thinking of missing no references and all this cool stuff and it was hyped up. But they showed a release announcement trailer that showed Sirfetch'd.
Yeah.
He's actually one of the better ones.
Nice.
So we had like Poltegeist, which was a ghost Pokemon in a teacup. And I'm like,
some of the American translations of the names have always been pretty bad.
Yeah. So at least this one looks pretty cool, and apparently he's exclusive to Sword. So if you have Shield, you'll have to trade for it.
You can't just evolve a Farfetch'd into it?
Right, but where does Farfetch'd come from?
Oh,
I imagine he's That's all I know. He's exclusive to Sword. How that happens?
But wait, could you trade because you can trade anything that's in the national Pokedex, right? So you could trade it from one of your other games, a Farfetch'd.
Yeah, but usually that's walled behind finishing the game first.
I gotcha. Okay.
Usually.
Interesting.
But this is going to be totally different because the whole national Pokedex debacle where it's all locked out and not every Pokemon is going to be in the game. So we'll see what happens.
All right, what's next?
The last thing is Link's Awakening comes out tomorrow, September 20th.
You're way more excited about it than I am, understandably so.
Top 3 favorite Zelda games of all time.
When you let me borrow it, I will definitely borrow it and play it.
Amazing.
But for now,
I kind of want to make you play the original Game Boy one first, which is very relevant to tonight's topic.
Fine, that's true. Yeah, we're going to talk about portable gaming. Yeah. I still have my Game Boy Advance, which plays Game Boy games, so I could feasibly
there you
play
go.
it.
Yeah, that's great. Link's Awakening was my very first Game Boy game.
Wow.
And it was my first Zelda experience.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think we talked about that.
Completely
we
lost
did talk about that, yeah.
Yeah, but
you said it's your favorite Zelda, right?
A top 3 now. Breath of the Wild, and Majora's Mask, and Ocarina of Time, Link to the Past. Like, they all just kind of... those 5 Zeldas are all competing for the best Zelda ever, and I don't know, but
you'll be like, the remake is the best Zelda ever.
Well,
until Breath of the Wild 2 comes out,
it's at least have the top 5 competing for one, right?
That's funny. All right. Well, did that do it for news?
That's all I got.
Cool.
Yeah.
The next is a segment we do called
Doing this podcast is our favorite thing. Doing this podcast is our favorite thing.
Favorite things. It is a segment that we like to set aside where we just update you on the thing that we're digging this week, the thing we're excited about, that we hope you might find your next favorite thing through our favorite thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing this week?
We, as in my brother and I, in our video game collection, have just procured my favorite Mega Man X title for Super Nintendo, and that's Mega Man X3.
Nice.
An absolutely incredibly rare game, and it's ridiculously expensive. So thanks to David Smith, who dropped off tons of video games for us. We were able to go through them, parse them. I was given 5 boxes of games, was one of my favorite things weeks ago, and we were able to get rid of the duplicates and the things that did not meet my quality standards and offload those things for enough trading credit to get this is more expensive and more rare than Earthbound. Mm-hmm. And we have it.
Nice.
It's amazing. It's
awesome.
My favorite Mega Man X game, and I've played it on the PlayStation 2 has a Mega Man X collection, so I've played it before.
Yeah.
But this was the first time I had the Super Nintendo version of it. So it is now the prized single game in my entire collection. I think it's worth more than anything I have.
You're gonna put it in a little box, shadow box?
I kind of want to, but I want to play it.
On it.
I'm so practical that I already played it. It's going to be in my Super Nintendo. I want 100% it.
Wait, is it in your Super Nintendo Mini or anything?
No.
Okay.
It's not. Mega Man X1 is in the Mini, but you can hack it and get emulators, but I don't play that game.
Right.
Yep.
Cool. My favorite thing is a podcast I regularly listen to that's become kind of like a chill, my chill podcast. My not turn my brain off because it's actually mentally engaging, but it's the if I'm not in the mood for a true crime because I just don't want to, hear about the worst worst people of humanity.
You don't want to emote?
Yeah, exactly. Just if it's something I just want to I want to just learn something. So I'll listen to Stuff You Should Know, the podcast by howstuffworks.com. So shout out to those guys. They're awesome. So I feel like an old person because I listened to an episode today on interstates, the interstate system.
Oh, I bet that was fascinating.
It was fascinating.
Yeah.
And if I were to tell 14-year-old me, not only does 30-year-old you go back, if I were to go back in time and tell 14-year-old me, not only does your 30-year-old version listen to podcasts, but he listened to a podcast about interstates and found it fascinating, then I think
your 14-year-old self would
make some different life choices. So I would probably fade away Back to the Future style. But it was cool. So if you're old like me and you say, "Ooh, I want to know about the interstate system," you should check out the most recent Stuff You Should Know episode. I guess by the time you hear this, it won't be the most recent one, but it will be one of the more recent ones. But I learned a lot about the interstates, and I think that it's interesting. It's interesting stuff to me. Did you know that there's a spot in Virginia here, not here, but near here, where there are 2 interstates that share the same stretch of road? So it's Interstate 81 and Interstate 77, I think. Now, that's not too uncommon, but what's uncommon about this spot is they're technically, it's called a wrong way sharing or something like that. And the reason is because both interstates are north to south interstates, but this particular stretch of road goes east to west.
Oh, wow.
So it's organized, it's arranged in such a way where if you're going on southbound 81, you're actually going on northbound 77 and vice versa.
Wow.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Huh.
So, I found that I was like, oh, I learned something today. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
So, interstate.
My mind was blown when I learned that from left to right or from west to east.
Yeah.
So it's like latitude and longitude. So the roads that run north and south, which are longitude, are odd numbered from left to right. So we have 95, which is all the way on the East Coast. That's our big giant interstate that runs. Yeah. When I learned that, and then 64, runs degrees of latitude. They're lines of latitude where they run east and west, but they're numbered 0 to whatever, and they're evenly numbered.
Yep.
And I was
and then even more than that, because there's the highway, there's the interstate system and there's the highway system.
Right.
So there's the two different things.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want Interstate 1 and Route 1 to be near each other at all.
They flopped them.
They did, yeah. So on the East Coast, we have all of the low numbered highways.
Yep.
And on the West Coast, they have all the low numbered interstates, and then the more. But because of that, there is no Interstate 50.
Really?
Yeah, because it would be right in the middle near Route 50. So there's a Route 50, no Interstate 50. So, right, like, I'm like,
it's
gosh,
crazy.
I'm so old. I'm nerding out on interstates, but it's cool stuff.
Yeah, it's
I
pretty
like
sweet.
learning stuff. I like being able to know stuff. And actually, doing this podcast has, like, increased my desire to, like, know random things.
Yeah.
I've always been kind of a trivia person, but now it's even, like,
Even
more so because I actually have to like do it for my hobby here. So cool. Those favorite things. Yay!
All right.
So next segment of our podcast is DLC,
Downloadable content.
And DLC today is going to be a blank blank because A, we haven't done it in a while, and B, I didn't have any other better ideas.
Yep.
Before we turn the mics on. So, this is very ad-libbed today. So blank blank, the way blank blank works is who would win in a blank. And so on Termite, it's going to pick 2 video game characters, and I'm going to pick a contest that they would engage in, and we're going to see who wins.
All right. These are going to be generic characters.
That's fine.
And I hope that they're just not cash grab. Like sometimes I like to pick like some. There's a word that's like not common.
Mm-hmm.
What's that word I'm looking for? Mr. Literary. There's a word for non-common.
Rare, unique.
No, not niche either, but kind of in that vein. Obscure. That's the word.
Gotcha.
I usually like to pick some obscure characters and like, stretch my
Do
creative.
you know? Do you?
Because like there's the obvious, Mario, right?
Yeah,
or like,
sure,
that.
yeah.
But sometimes I go into other things, like a Final Fantasy VII supporting character like Vincent,
Right,
which is kind of more obscure than Mario, right?
Yeah. Okay.
That kind
I'm
of
with you.
obscurity, not like, ridiculous obscurity where
Right,
I
like
go into like Wild
the most
Arms and
recent
pick out like
Smash
a
Bros.
character.
Like Terry from
Right.
Fatal Fury.
Yeah. Like anyway, I have 2 very non-obscure characters.
Okay.
They're pretty obvious characters, but I'm going to use them anyway.
All right, go for it.
Link and Sonic.
Link and Sonic.
Yeah.
Okay. Who would win? This is funny. I was thinking about portable gaming, and I was thinking about one of my favorite portable games to play right now is Smash Bros. So who would win in a game of Smash Bros? Meaning
They're
Link
playing-
and Sonic each have Nintendo Switches, and they're playing against each other in Smash.
Sonic would destroy him.
Because of the speed, right?
Yeah, he's got the ridiculous reflexes.
Yeah. The only argument the only counter I would make to that is Link does have the Ocarina of Time and could stop time. That's true. And just kick Sonic's butt.
And maybe use the Sheikah slate to hack it
Yeah,
and like do some cheats.
he has so many tools in his
he
tool
does.
belt that that I would be worried about Sonic's ability to quite literally keep up.
Right?
Mm.
But he would. He just run away. I don't know.
I suppose you can only slow Sonic down so much, even with the Ocarina of Time.
Right.
So I think that given that Link used the Ocarina of Time to slow him down, knowing that he can't completely freeze him. So now they're just on the same speed. So
now we're at it. Okay.
Now, there we go. So now
But
we've
then
got
Link's
them on the same
hands
speed.
are occupied by an ocarina, so Sonic's going to whip him. Because he has to put the Switch down and play the ocarina.
That's fine. He loses
the
a stock.
moment that
He can catch up.
yeah, maybe.
He loses a stock. It takes less
I mean,
than a.
Link could like use his boomerangs, bombs, hook
He can
shots,
start
etc.
it
to,
when
like,
he can, the 3, 2, 1 countdown. It doesn't take that long to play Song of Time, so he puts it down. Do do do. Oh wait, no, that's Zelda's Lullaby. The other one. Do 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 do, and then the game starts. You still have like 3 seconds of invincibility there.
Is that the backwards one that slows time down? From Majora's
No,
Mask?
I did the other. I'm thinking, yeah, you're right. That would have to be that one. Either way, so now they're on the same speed. Maybe Link is down a stock. Do you think that Sonic?
Yeah,
can
Sonic's got him.
3 stock?
Yeah,
him?
I just think Sonic's got. Yeah,
I'm gonna go with Link on this one. So I'm gonna disagree with you. So listeners, let us. Because I love Link and I'm a fanboy,
well,
okay?
I
So
love
I'm
Link
rooting.
too, and he's way better than Sonic, and I would always choose him in any day of the week. But logically looking at how this plays out,
No, logically looking, I counters your logic at every step of the way.
no, you just at the very end.
Link has better
Link's gonna
hands.
win.
No, Link has he has hands.
So does Sonic.
Sonic doesn't have
His
fingers.
Yeah, he does.
Does he?
Yes,
Does he?
he grabs rings. Look it up. He eats chili dogs.
I know that like creepy Sonic from the movie has fingers.
Yeah, but it was an issue because he didn't have gloves on. That's why it was creepy. Because he had like human hands. It was nasty and they were hairy.
he does have fingers. Okay.
Yeah,
All right, but he's got those thick gloves on.
he does have gloves on.
I guess they could both take, and Link has gauntlets on, they could take that. Yeah. I'm still saying Link. I have faith in Link.
Okay.
Because I feel like everything's even, they're both at the same speed, because Link has slowed down time, Sonic goes really fast, so they're both at the same speed. Link may be down a stock, but I've come back from worse situations.
We don't know how skilled they are at the game, so there's that. Can Sonic come back? I'm just going by the fact that
Sonic is in contemporary culture, so he's probably encountered video games before, but Link has the familiarity with the Sheikah. He has the Sheikah Slate, so he knows how to use some form of technology that's very similar to a Nintendo Switch. So I think it's a toss-up right now.
All right.
I think they both would actually be really. I think they both would be really, really bad.
Yeah, they would.
Maybe one would end up winning, but they would both end up being really bad at the game.
I'm glad I didn't pick obscure characters.
Nice, yeah, that would have been. All right, cool. So tell us, listeners, what you think. Who do you think would win in a game of Smash, Sonic or Link?
And you can do that by going to 80bitpodsmash.com. That's our landing website where we have links to Google Play, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, or any other podcasting services that you would like. We are there. Download the RSS feed and plop it into your app. We can be anywhere you want. If there's somewhere we're not and you want us to be, let us know, and we'll put ourselves there. On social media platforms, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Reddit. All of those social media platforms is 80bit Podsmash, 80bit Podsmash, all lowercase, no funny business. Don't forget our Discord server is posted with every episode, and as the announcement of each episode posts on Monday, there's a Discord link in that announcement on Facebook. So
you can, as you're listening to us and hearing these questions, unless you're driving. If you're driving, please don't do this. But if you're doing any other activity where you can pick up your phone, you can literally respond to us as you're listening to this episode and tell us what that is on Discord. That's the nice thing about Discord. And we'll see it. Yep. And we'll probably know what you're talking about because we listen to the episodes when we're editing them, and we also record them. So if you were to say, totally Sonic, he would win, you might have to jog our memory, actually.
You might.
We're kind of dumb sometimes, but yes, we'll, for the most part, know what you're talking about, and you can respond to us pretty much live, at least from your perspective. You can respond to us live.
You can start your own thread on our subreddit, and you can join into discussions there.
Yep, cool. We'll see it all. We'll see all of it.
Yes, so hit us up.
Cool. All right, so our main topic today is portable gaming, and we were, again, like I said, we talked about it kind of briefly when talking about, what is portable gaming? Well, we just said the Switch.
That's actually a modern definition of it.
Exactly.
Because it's changed the definition of portable gaming.
Yes, it has. So I think that's kind of where we're going to have to start is what is portable gaming and how is it different from, quote, mobile gaming? Because we had a whole episode on mobile games. Yeah. And we actually talked about portable games in our mobile gaming episode. So now we're going to have to do the reverse. So, yes, what's portable gaming and how is it different from mobile gaming?
I look at it like a dedicated console for gaming that's not a phone, or it's dedicated for games. Right. It's not another device that you happen to play games on.
Right. And it's not, and in many cases, though the games are digital, at least in the originals, it was you got games for it. The games were made for it in a way that's just it's not just an app, I guess. I feel like it's a difference between app games and games.
Right. And you're looking at I'm going to define this separately. So there's cartridge-based portable gaming consoles. That's the Game Boy, where you have a cartridge. You go buy a game for it. It comes on a cart, and you slide the cart in, and you play it. And there's evolutions of that, which we'll get to. But then there's the Tiger Electronics handhelds. Do you remember those? Where they have the little LED screens, which are actually the successor to the Game & Watch, which started the whole thing.
Right.
So Nintendo came out with these little LED screens and realized, we can, paint an image of a person with 8 arms, but only light up 2 at a time. Yeah. And we can create a juggling game. And there's 3 balls, but we only light up 1 of the 3 lights at a time, so it looks like he's juggling. Yeah. And then there's different difficulties, and they have 2 buttons on them. A Game & Watch fits in your pocket. It's like a little card. That's that was the origin of portable gaming, as far as I know it. And so that's not cartridge based. You can't change the game. You have to go buy an entire
single
new
game. I mean, even things
cartridge.
Like Tamagotchis are portable games. Or they're little. Or those. Oh gosh, you remember how you get a Happy Meal and it'd have this little janky plastic, very cheaply made, but it was a game and you could play it.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess. And unfortunately, the lines are blurring now. And
they are, especially with a Switch.
Yeah, and even cell phone games are a lot of. I mean, you can play Final Fantasy on your cell phone. Right. But first of all, portable gaming came first.
Absolutely.
Portable gaming has been around since what was Game & Watch? Was that the 70s?
Early, very early, way before the NES.
Really early. Whereas mobile gaming, as we know it now, really came out as, I mean, they didn't come out till cell phones.
2006.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
iPhone.
before, that was the iPhone, but there were games you could get on, even those like flip
even
phones
the
and stuff.
calculators, the TI-83s, the graphing calculators in school people would make games for.
Exactly.
Is that mobile gaming?
Yeah, is that mobile gaming or is it portable gaming? Yeah. So again, the lines are blurred a little bit, but I think the where we're going to kind of focus the big differences are, again, it's a dedicated piece of hardware for gaming in the same way that a PlayStation is, in the same way. Well, not even that, because PlayStation you can watch Netflix on. So literally, at least,
But no one's buying a PlayStation to watch Netflix.
Right. Most of the portable games that portable game devices we're talking about, you literally can only play games for that device on that device.
Right.
So that's kind of one big distinction there. And the other thing is portable gaming, at least in the centuries that we're going to be focusing on, didn't have like, they weren't free to play, so it wasn't like free to play and then microtransactions.
Mm-hmm.
It was you bought the full game and played the full game, and there was nothing else to it other than that. So, that's kind of how we're focusing and the differences there, because mobile gaming is a kind of beast unto itself, and we have a whole episode dedicated to it where we interviewed with Brizzle McFizzle.
It sounded like you stuttered, but you actually said her name correctly.
I did. Brizzle McFizzle. Yes,
yeah.
That's her name. My sister-in-law, who her online pseudonym is Brizzle McFizzle.
Yeah.
Her actual literal name is not Brizzle McFizzle.
Right.
But yeah, she we had a whole conversation with her about mobile gaming and its effects. So we wanted to kind of like take a scalpel and cut out the portable gaming discussion we had, the smaller portable gaming discussion we had in that, and really zoom in on like things like the Game Boy and things like the DS and Advance and Game Gear and Nomad. Yeah. I'm just literally saying the things that you have said to me tonight, because I'm like, all I know is the Nintendo one. So
it's okay. So one other distinction we can make between mobile and portable gaming
help me.
is the cell phone connection.
Yes. Okay.
There's only one portable gaming console that has ever breached the cell phone gaming idea or the cell tower connection, and that's the PlayStation Vita. You can get a 3G connection to that, and it would be online all the time.
Yeah.
But like the Nintendo Switch, you have to be on Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Most, any modern consoles, the PSPs, Vitas, they all have like Wi-Fi. That's different from cellular technology.
Yeah. I was convinced at one
games
point that Nintendo should release a phone.
That was rumored for a while.
Yeah, I'm not.
You weren't crazy.
Yeah,
that was actually like people thought Nintendo was coming out with a phone.
Yeah. I think the Switch is great, and I don't know how I feel about Nintendo phone now in light of the Switch, because I think that the Switch is great. But I think the idea is still sound. That's like, oh, why don't these? I mean, not just Nintendo, Sony could do it. Like, it's a gaming focused phone, but it still has all the functionality. Cell phones. Yeah,
they made the Ericsson. They have a whole line. They had a whole line of cell phones, and then Windows. There was Windows phones in the smartphone era.
It's not a bad idea, you know what I mean? To have but I would think about it more like this is a gaming device,
right? That
also you can still make calls on. I guess I think of it more like an iPad. Mm-hmm. You can still make calls on an iPad, and you still have a cell connection of some kind. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'm like,
Razer makes phones, gaming phones. They make mobile, like actual cell phones.
Every time I hear Razer, though, I think of. My immediate association was I had was it Nokia Razer, or was it
was it
Samsung? Samsung. Okay, yeah. So every time
Motorola. I'm so dumb. Motorola Razer. Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's what I think of, because I had one, and so that in my mind is my immediate mental association. So when you say Razer, the company that makes mouses and keyboards and headsets, or
they
headphones,
made a phone. But we digress. So
we are digressing.
I think we've made the distinction.
We have, yes.
Portable hardware,
portable distinction. That's what portable games are. Yes. That's what we're going to be focusing on. Mm-hmm. So with that in mind, what consoles and generations of portable consoles have defined portable gaming over the course of its history? So kind of what is the history, but I'm putting the reins on you.
Right. I'm not going to go into
every single individual.
Yeah, I could go nuts. And all right. So it's kind of like I said earlier, it started with the Game & Watch. These were individual card-sized games. They had one game per board.
Yep.
And you can go and you can collect them, and you have a collection of these things. They were like very simple LEDs, very beeps were the sounds.
Yep.
And the animations were very slow frame rate. Like, but they were fun. They were like,
which is something they've recreated really well in Smash with the character of Mr.
they
Game
really
Watch.
did. And then that kind of evolved into the Game Boy, which set the portable gaming market on fire. That's the most, hands down, the most revolutionary portable gaming console ever created. This sucker was extremely durable, and it was cartridge based, so you could just come out with new games and continue to program for it and make new games and buy new games.
Yeah.
And the life like longevity of the Game Boy is absolutely insane.
Oh, it
lasted so long, even before the next iterations of the hardware, the upgrades. Like it just lasted all the way through the NES like life cycle into the Super Nintendos, and the Game Boy still existed.
Doesn't the Nintendo of America store have the Game Boy, like the melted Game Boy?
Yeah.
Was that the one that survived a bomb, or was it a war?
I don't know. It got melted somehow.
Gotcha. Yeah. It's
I don't
like,
know
but it still
but
works.
I saw it
That's
in
what's
person.
the crazy thing.
Yeah,
is
and
it still works.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. They use like a dot matrix display, which was kind of revolutionary for its time. It's a way to like light up pixels. It was monochrome, so it was green and black. So it's still kind of simple.
And it's not backlit, which is the most important thing.
It's not backlit.
I want to highlight this because you kids who may be listening to this podcast, or even people who are like 5-10 years younger than us, like, you don't know how good you have it, because
backlit screen,
if we wanted to play games in the car on the way home from vacation, we either had to beg our parents to let us turn the light on in the car,
right?
Or we had to have one of those rigs where it
there's so many rigs.
I know there's so many like third-party
magnifying
rigs.
glass.
I had one that was a magnifying glass and a light, and it shone down onto my Game Boy. Yeah,
yep.
Because it wasn't backlit. You had to have a light source, like a book, effectively. Big picture, I think actually those are probably not as bad for your eyes, all things considered, and your brain, because there's like a whole ton of effects that the blue light has on people's brains, which is a big thing in our, like, it affects seasonal affective disorder and all that good stuff, and people's sleep, insomnia. It's a huge thing. Again, I'm digressing, but it was. I just wanted to highlight that fact that like you had to have a light source, and that sucked.
It did. Until the Sega Game Gear came out. And they thought of this, and they said, oh, we're going to have ours backlit and stereo speakers.
Wii U.
And they came out with games, cartridge-based, as usual, with the Genesis licenses across the board, so Sonic and stuff. But it used 6 AA batteries.
Oh.
And they burned them out in like 3 hours.
Wow.
It was bad.
It was expensive to use. No wonder I haven't, because I was going to sit here and I was like, well, and I haven't even heard of it. I have heard of the Sega Game Gear, but
I've got one. It's over there.
But yeah, I didn't know that. I never had one.
Yeah.
I wasn't a Sega kid, so I had no idea.
My parents bought us the AC adapter, so it was tethered to the wall, but we could play the crap out of it. So we have a small library of games that we went through as a childhood. So that was revolutionary because of the backlighting, but it was terrible with its graphics. It had a horrible graphics processor. The frame rates were terrible. The games were toned down so badly they almost weren't even recognizable from being in the same franchise. Like, really, really bad. So that's kind of Sega's competing. And then Nintendo continued. I'm going to fast forward to when the DS came out.
Sure.
And that was revolutionary.
Well, Game Boy Advance?
Well, we're going to skip that because it's Game Boy Plus Plus.
More of the same,
right, the SP did come out.
I was
It had
gonna
the
say,
clamshell with the backlight.
Yeah,
and that was fine.
They've had different. The Game Boy itself has gone through some advancement iterations in the same
They added color
way as like
they shrank the form.
Super the SNES and all that stuff.
But you didn't want me to go through the history lesson.
I didn't, but I wanted to talk about the ones that I knew.
Oh, is that what this is about? Let's just cater it to Penguin Man's history.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to hit that. Like, the Game Boy evolved.
It did.
And made advancements along the way, but you're right. The next big leap would be the DS.
Right, where you have 2 screens and the bottom screen is a touch screen. This was before the world of iPod touches.
Right.
Before iPads, before iPhones and smartphones, right?
Yep.
Revolutionary to have a portable device with a touchscreen. It was the original technology for a touchscreen where you have a membrane that you have to push to meet the circuit board to find the touch point.
Yeah.
Whereas the smartphones don't operate that way at all. It's an entirely different technology.
Yeah.
So it was a little, if you look at it now, it's kind of dated, but it worked. And it worked really well. And we had N64 grade graphics on the go. It was awesome. And there was a whole slew of games. It was super innovative with different type of controls. Have you ever played Spirit Tracks or Phantom Hourglass?
No.
They're 2 Zelda titles that you move Link on the touchscreen completely. And so it was just, some people hate it, some people loved it, but it was innovative, it was fun.
It was innovative. I'm not quite sure I could call it successful compared to the Wii.
Oh, it's extremely successful.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
That's what you're right, because they had a million versions of it. Yeah, you're right.
I
knew a lot of people who had
the most
DSs.
successful portable console ever sold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm speaking as a person who, it just came out at a time for me, again, similar to, I made this parallel before, but similar to what happened to me with, like, I think the newer Pokemon games, like when they came out and when the DS came out, I was like, that I was at an age where I was just like, that looks stupid. That's dumb. I'm a cool, edgy teenager, high school something, so I'm going to not do that and play my PC instead.
Yeah.
So
You probably would.
that's exactly how I was when that console came out. And, eat my foot now, because you're right. I forgot that in the stats I saw, it was literally the best-selling gaming console of all time.
Portable gaming console.
I thought it was the best one of all time, period.
I think the Wii still has that.
Does it really? No?
PS2. I'm sorry, PS2. It's PS2.
We'll have to look it up again, because I'm pretty sure the DS outsold all of them.
Maybe.
Yeah.
If you compare
I was surprised. I remember that fact sticking in my head because I was
Look it
surprised
up.
by it.
Yeah, the Nintendo DS product line are the best-selling handheld consoles, selling 154.02 units worldwide.
Yeah, so
The
again,
original only sold 18, but
Gotcha,
154 across all of them.
across the entire line, yeah,
Right.
which I totally would count.
But I was also correct. The Sony PlayStation 2 is the single most selling console of one console at
Sure,
155 million.
Gotcha. Wow,
Just higher.
that's nice. Yeah,
So they're within a million of each other.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it just goes to show, to our second point, which we'll touch more on, but portable gaming is super innovative because it sells super well.
Yeah. It really does.
It really does. So yeah, I eat
If
my
you do
foot
it
there.
correctly.
The DS was an incredible success. So yeah, cool. Next thing.
So fast forward a little bit to the PSP was Sony's answer to Nintendo's incredible success with the DS.
Yeah.
And they had these things. This is why it flopped. We talk about portable gaming does sell well if you do it correctly. This is an
Right.
example of not doing it correctly. They came out with this disc drive where the
Right, I remember
CDs were
tiny-
encased
Yeah.
in a plastic shell that you stuck in like a cartridge, but it had a disc inside, and they were called UMDs, and that acronym stood for Universal Media Disc. Keyword universal, where nothing else plays them except for a
Yeah.
PSP, but they're universal. And maybe it's because they had movies come out for it too, so it was
Yeah.
like DVDs being ported to this UMD
Yeah.
format. But because it was a disc drive with a spinning CD in it, but it's also portable. Yeah, it didn't work.
Right.
And it was kind of chunky and sluggish, and the graphics were kind of nice. It was like this leap between PS1 and PS2, somewhere in the middle there.
I remember it being markedly better than what I saw with the DSs at the time.
Yeah, the resolutions were higher. It could theoretically play better games. It had some good games. There's some good games on it.
Sure, yeah.
I kind of want one. I never had one. So there's a lot of good things about the PSP. Fast forward a little bit to the successor to that, was
the Vita.
the Sony Vita,
Yep.
where games were on a cartridge again, like they should be. And the Vita also flopped. It didn't sell very well at all. It was expensive, and it did have this whole cellular plan you could buy and pay monthly into to be connected. But
Now, did it also have the remote play capabilities where you could connect it to the
Not
PlayStation
initially.
3 and 4?
Yeah, not initially.
That came later. Okay.
Yeah, that came later. And so, yeah, it had all this cool connectivity to the PlayStation Network. You could earn trophies in the game, and it would sync up to your PSN profile. You sign into it. I want a Vita so bad. Oh my gosh. I
Well, now
need
because
one.
of remote play, being able to just essentially you could use your Vita like a Switch for your PlayStation and play remotely if
within
you
the
wanted
house,
to.
within the Wi-Fi. I don't think you can do it over the internet. Not as far as I
Okay.
know.
I'll
Like
take your word for it.
Yeah, I don't think you could sit at your desk at work.
I just remember reading something recently where someone asked if you can wake your PlayStation up remotely with the Vita, and I assumed
From,
they
out of your
meant-
house.
I assumed they meant out of your house because you couldn't just go turn your PlayStation on.
I was thinking in the house, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's worth someone let
Well,
us
no,
know.
so yeah, exactly. Anyone with a Vita who knows or is just knowledgeable about these things, then let us know, because that might be something that's new. Because you can do it on your phone now. You can play remotely on your phone, so I can't see any reason why you wouldn't be able to do it with the Vita, which is connected cellularly. So, anyways, carry on. So the Vita.
Yes, the Vita was awesome. It had some good games. There's an Uncharted game for it. There was a Killzone game for it, and there's a million other, there's Persona 4 Golden apparently is amazing. I have a library of 100 some games because they were releasing them for free every month on the PlayStation Plus. So I would love to have a Vita and go back and experience some of those games: Gravity Rush, Axiom Verge, etc., etc. Where are we at? Portable gaming.
Vita.
To
So
the
we're
Switch.
talking about the history. Yeah. So
The Switch is the most modern one, so that's now the first hybrid, home console
Yeah, I
to
would say
portable gaming.
some things that you kind of skipped before the Switch that had
Yeah.
were innovations in the DS line. So in the same way that the Game
Right.
Boy line kind of had advancements and jumps up, I will say one of the more interesting things that the DS did, even though there were like a million different versions of the DS, I will say the 3DS,
Yeah.
where you could where they used 3D technology, and by 3D I mean pop out at your face, blue and red glasses.
It was more like
3D.
it was deep. Nothing
Yeah.
really came out, but you could look into it and it had depth.
and that was what was innovative about
Yeah.
it. It's because they were
Without
using
glasses.
because you didn't have to use glasses for the 3D effect.
Yep.
So I mean, it wasn't perfect, but the illusion still worked really well.
Yeah.
So I thought that was something
And
to
the 3DS probably has one of the best libraries of any Nintendo console. Absolutely incredible games for the 3DS.
Nice.
It is so good.
Yeah. And then, yes, the Switch, which we are today. That's kind of the pinnacle of portable gaming as of right now. And of course, there's talk and whispers of, Xbox coming out with a competitor using their xCloud gaming, which is supposed to be a competitor to the Switch.
Right.
I don't know if Sony's got anything in the works, but I know that like Stadia, technically, one could argue, is an attempt at trying to do the same thing, playing any game from your phone.
Save that for the future talk.
Okay, fine. Well, I'm just saying that like there are, right now the Switch kind of exemplifies what current modern portable gaming looks like versus current modern mobile gaming.
Yeah.
And I was just trying to highlight the fact that there are whispers of competitors to it because people want a slice of that pie of what Nintendo is, again, ahead of the curve on, saying, hey, we've identified this need that people we know people want this. And so now it's just interesting that like, yep, it clearly imitation is the best form of flattery, I guess, in that regard. So, all right, cool. So really quickly, let's talk about then just in general, how has portable gaming brought innovation to the industry? So beyond what I said before of it just selling super well.
We kind of discussed each one. So like being able to optimize an experience on the go with very limited resources. And when you go into like computing and how you can make something with very limited RAM, very limited graphics processors and stuff.
Well, and the things,
how to make a compelling experience within those limitations.
Yeah, and technology getting, I mean, it's just it's another example of how technology's been getting smaller but more power. Like we are able to do more with circuit boards at like super tiny levels. I listened to a podcast on precision engineering. It was months ago, but precision engineering is what has kind of allowed for that. And the definition of precision, by the way, I learned in this podcast, is not accuracy, like being able to hit a small target. Precision would be if you use the same metaphor of like accuracy is being able to hit a target bullseye very far away. Precision is being able to hit the same spot
over and over again.
Yeah. So that's what precision engineering is like they're able to just, with machines and technology, they're able to just do the same thing over and over again to make super small processors and everything that are super powerful. So it's like portable gaming has been fueling that because people want their games on the go. So yes, cell phones have also fueled that, but portable games have been part of that as well because there's a need and people want.
And with that, battery technology. The lithium-ion rechargeable batteries that have powered mobile phones are now in the mobile market as well and having rechargeable devices. Nintendo's first one that I can recall of is the SP, Game Boy Advance SP. The clamshell model had a rechargeable battery. It was huge. Like,
amazing.
Oh my gosh. I don't have to buy the
AC
adapter.
That backlight.
It does. And we don't have to buy batteries for it anymore. It's completely rechargeable. Another crazy innovation from Nintendo, the Game Boy Micro. It was a Game Boy Advance Micro. It was tiny, and I have one up there. It's amazing. And to shrink down like a Game Boy Advance to that level, I mean, it really is. It fits in the palm of your hand with one screen, 2 buttons, and a volume slider, and rechargeable battery, and a backlight. Like, you're talking about precision engineering. That's like at that time was huge. And now we have the Switch, which has almost modern graphics. Like, it's not quite as good as the PS4 and the Xbox 360.
But it's good enough for me.
It's better than a PS3 and an Xbox 360. Like, they're porting that generation of games constantly onto the Switch. It plays everything. It has the standard PC architecture, like the x86, and it plays all of it. Like, we're getting games like Turok 1 and 2's remake on there. Doom 64 is coming.
Witcher on there. We are getting
we're getting The Witcher on there. Like, are you serious? Yes, the graphics are downgraded some, but it really is like playing on a low-powered PC. You just turn the graphic settings down.
I mean, and
that's
works. Kind of. I mean, that's the conceit that we have all agreed upon with portable gaming. You know what I mean? Like, the thing that we all are like, yes, we've all made that Faustian bargain, if you will, of saying like, I understand, and I'm still going to buy this knowing that it's going to be less powerful than the home console, but I can take it on the go.
Right.
So that's kind of the weird... the culture is already primed for being okay with that. So the Switch was, it's like, yeah, we're all fine with it. We're cool with it. We still want one. Everybody in America still wants a Nintendo Switch, knowing that they're going to get a downgrade compared to whatever console or PC they might have. And I'm fine with it because can't lug my PlayStation on the airport, to the
Right.
airport with me. I can't get on the subway with my PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Another innovation from portable gaming was Game Boy did the system link cable.
Mhm.
So now you're hooking two consoles together.
Mhm.
That was unheard of at its time because
it was a local area network.
Yep, you were trading
But with a game,
Pokemon.
yep.
Yeah, and it was way ahead of its time because consoles like GameCube and Dreamcast and Xbox and PS2, well, PS2 had to have an adapter, were the first kind of generation of consoles that were network connected where you could LAN them together. But prior to that, N64, Super Nintendo, they couldn't do it.
It's crazy, thinking about just innovations. Like, it's crazy to think how much modern cell phones were inspired by games. But then also, so much of like modern portable games consoles have been inspired by cell phones.
Right.
There's this weird trading back and forth, which just goes to show that like portable gaming, though often overlooked in discussions, we haven't had an episode about portable gaming on this podcast yet. We're 106 episodes in.
Yeah.
But portable gaming has been just like, it's been so important to the world, not just even the gaming world. Like I said, it has had effects and ripples into the technologies that we all use every day that aren't for games. So it's crazy.
And I was at one point putting 100 hours a year or more, 150 to 200 hours a year on my 3DS consistently for like 5 years straight.
Yeah.
I was playing it a lot. I have just as many games for all generations of Game Boys that I have for any of my consoles. You're right. For some reason, it doesn't get talked about as much. But I don't know why, because I've spent just as much time looking at my portable screens as I have on the home console screens.
Yeah, exactly.
They're amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy. And there was, like I said, edgy teenage Dan, there was a time that I was like, man, nobody's going to, I would, scoff at my friends who had 3DSs or PSPs, and I'd be like, cell phones are already able to do more than what,
Those
these can
things
do.
are.
So there's no future for portable games. And again, eat my foot, because
Yep.
like now that I'm older and can actually look at these things from a bird's eye view and have Google in my pocket to be able to do that research too. It's just crazy now to see how wrong I was about portable, and still, well, no, not still am, obviously, because I'm defending it, but how wrong I was growing up about portable games, because they so are important. Cool. Let's talk a little bit, unless you had some innovations that were burning in your pocket. Cool. I mean, things like that 3D technology that 3DS had was crazy.
Glasses list 3D.
Exactly. Yeah. There's
VR.
Yeah.
Except that they're kind of glasses, but still it's like different lenses.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, you're right. No,
it can play into it.
It's the same. Yeah. It's the same concepts are going into it. Is instead of trying to like mount something, you're like tricking the eyes into, exactly. Instead of putting something between your eyes and the screen, you're using the cameras and the
screen itself.
The screen itself to trick your brain into thinking something. Yep. There's a VR mission. You've done the VR mission in Borderlands 3, right?
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Cool. What's your personal favorite portable game console?
3DS.
3DS?
Yeah.
Okay.
By far.
I'm torn, because adult Dan, of course, is going to say the Switch, but nostalgic Dan wants to say that I loved my Game Boy. I want to say I think the one I loved the most, the classic, I had a Game Boy Mini, so the smaller one.
Game Boy Pocket.
That's see, like,
I have two of them on my shelf.
Yep, the Game Boy Pocket. I had a Game Boy Pocket. It was green. I actually recently sold it on eBay like a couple years ago.
You had a green one?
Oh, did you? Would you have wanted it?
I would have loved to have that.
Sorry.
That sucks.
Yeah, so I had that, and then like I said, I had the whole rig and everything.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, as much as I've already played more games on my Switch than I ever played on my Game Boy. The only game I played on my Game Boy was Pokemon.
Really?
And I loved it. I have played other games on it. Let's see. I have a Game Boy. I also have a Game Boy Advance SP.
Yeah.
That has the old school NES coloring.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It's awesome. It's one of my favorite pieces of collector's hardware I have. And I love, like, I have Golden Sun on that, and I have a bunch of other games. And so there are games that I do love. But my original Game Boy, the only two games I had for it and played on it were Pokemon Yellow and Pokemon Gold.
Okay.
So, so, and I just love that, though. Like, as a kid, there was nothing better than having a Game Boy. By that time, I had an N64. I probably had a GameCube, around this, I would have gotten a GameCube later. But I think like I said, probably still played more Pokemon on my Game Boy than I probably played. At least I don't know. That's a toss-up. It doesn't matter. I played a lot of Game Boy. I played my Game Boy a lot. So, though, to be fair, the Dan who was enraptured with his Game Boy as a kid if you had told him what the Switch was and was capable of, like, he would have frozen himself in time in order to he would have gone up in the mountains to try to freeze himself in order to get the Nintendo Switch.
I'm going to fast forward through history to get it.
That's a reference to an episode of South Park where Cartman did that because he couldn't wait for the Wii.
Oh, nice.
It's a good one.
I don't think I've ever seen that one.
Oh my gosh, it's one of the it is a two-parter, and it's one of the best two-parter South Park episodes of all time. But the jokes that I want to immediately talk about on it are not family friendly.
Nice. Of course.
I'll tell you later once we hang out.
You can see the 2 stacks of Game Boy games I have over there.
Mm-hmm.
So my brother and I each had Game Boy Pockets. That's why I have 2 of them on the shelf growing up. And so I have a yellow one and a red one.
Yep.
And we would just constantly, I mean, we were always, Game Boys were with us at every restaurant and every car ride, at every cookout we ever went to, all summer long, nonstop Game Boy.
Yep.
It was my first Zelda experience ever. Definitely Pokemon all over it. The Mario games for it were awesome. Wario Land.
Now, I have a question. Do you get motion sick in the car?
No, not at all.
Neither do I. And my wife does. Mm-hmm. And no one in my family, we've always been able to read in the car. Yeah. We've always been able to do whatever. And I'm wondering if it's like, maybe it's genetics. Maybe we're just genetically predisposed to it. But part of me wonders why. Like, well, I had a Game Boy as a kid, and I played a lot in the car, so maybe that contributed to my resilience towards motion sickness. But
yeah,
I
don't know.
Does anyone? I want to hear from our listeners. That's another homework question.
Yes.
If anybody gets motion, do you get motion sick when playing portable games in your car, or even looking at your phone in the car? I don't know. Yeah. That's an interesting thought.
But my favorite portable console. Nintendo, the 3DS.
The 3DS,
yep. 3DS.
Nice.
Luigi's Mansion 1 and 2. One was remade. They ported Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask to the 3DS. They came out with Link Between Worlds, also on the 3DS, which was a successor to Link to the Past. In fact, the entire map from Link to the Past exists in Link Between Worlds. Absolutely amazing game. Super Mario 3D World, or 3D Land, which the sequel was for the Wii U. And games like Metroid Samus Returns. Animal Crossing, New Leaf, Mario Kart 7, the list goes on.
Yeah.
But I have spent way too much time playing my 3DS. And luckily it was backwards compatible with my DS.
Yeah.
So some of those hours attributed to that too. The original DS, tons of good games. There was actually a Golden Sun for it too. Golden Sun 3, you knew that.
I didn't know there was a third one. I knew there was 2.
Yep, there's a third one. I have it. Of course. And then there's, I don't even know. There's so many DS games I could just list that I'm not going to get into right now, but the DS family of games, I have 2 entire rows of shelves of games for them, and I love all of them. Nice. Hyrule Warriors, I played that on the 3DS while you were playing on the Wii U, if you remember that.
That's funny.
Yep. Loved it. Anyway.
Yeah, your version had so much more content than mine.
Did.
So I ended up getting the Switch version, and I was like, well, I'm paying for a whole bunch of content that I didn't have. I need to revisit that. There's some maps, some of those adventure mode maps I still haven't done.
Do you have it on Switch now?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I actually just recently sold my Wii U version so that I could get Borderlands.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Sold it up. Or traded it in, I should say.
Yes.
Cool. Next question is, I think we kind of already answered this, but I wanted to dig into it a little bit more. Does portable gaming still have a place in the world in the face of mobile gaming?
If you'd have asked us this question before the Switch came out, we'd have been like, it's a hard sell.
I'm with you there, yep.
And given Nintendo's history, I would have maybe fought on the side of, yes, it is still relevant. Yeah. Then the Switch comes out and boom,
absolutely, yes,
and completely relevant.
Yeah, it's interesting. And the thought that came to mind when asking this question was mobile gaming has sort of already, like, we're already seeing a decline in mobile gaming. I think it's because of all the predatory practices and freemium stuff, and all that stuff has put a sour taste in people's mouths regarding cell phone games. I mean, do you know, because the very fact that in would have been 18 or was it 17? 2018, the meme of "Do you not have phones?" can be such a universally reviled thing,
right?
That, like, again, there's context to that quote, but still, the idea being like mobile gaming had its peak, I would say, in the late aughts, early 2010s, and then it got taken over. At least in regards to quality, because there were some good, fun, enjoyable games on it that weren't completely morally bankrupt. Yeah, exactly. And again, that's why I could have said in late high school, I could have been like, like cell phone games, there's a lot of future potential there in regards to taking over portable gaming. But But now I'm like, with this if I compare it to the Switch, I'm like, yep, I'm perfectly happy with my $60 games that are incredibly high quality and amazing on my Switch, and that's my mode of portable gaming.
The weird or interesting thing is, I'm surprised.
So I think, though, what my point was, I think that there's the Switch came out at just the right time to kind of, again, maybe not topple mobile gaming, but really kind of cement portable gaming's place and future as like, yes, there still is a market for high quality, out of the box, AAA experiences that can be had on the go with a, good piece of hardware that people are willing to spend $300 on.
Right.
Yeah.
I was going to say earlier, and I'm really surprised no game developer has taken the risk or the plunge to make a console quality game on a cell phone.
Yeah.
They can be done.
Yeah.
You can put Switch level quality games that you just talked about, where you go buy out of the box $60, and you can put them on this thing. These phones, I'm holding a phone and you can't see it. They're Bluetooth
They're
compatible
capable of it,
and you can go get a Bluetooth controller, and you can use a Chromecast to cast it to your TV.
Yeah.
Like the same stuff that the Switch can do, these things can do.
Well, and there are some people that are experimenting with it, like Fortnite, for example. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But my point, and then I guess the counter argument to that is that I guess people aren't. The nice thing about the Switch is I'm willing to spend $300 because I'm like, this is something that is dedicated to this, is equipped for it. Everything I buy in the box is facilitating me playing games on this thing. Whereas the cell phone, I'm like, how am I going to use the touchscreen for this game?
Right.
Whereas, like, you're right, you can go buy a Bluetooth controller, but I'm already equipped for that. So even though going out and buying a Bluetooth controller is probably, all things considered, less expensive in my mind than it's been buying a Switch, straight up. But in my mind, I'm just like, well, no, I would just go buy a Switch because that's what the Switch is for.
Right.
But yeah, no, you're right. Those phones, they're capable of it, but no one has been like, great, we're going to make our next AAA experience.
No one has. And there was this race to the bottom, like you said, in the late aughts, early teens, 10s, where it was like free to play was new. Everyone was loving it. Millions of downloads were the thing with like nickel and dime, 15 cents per customer on average, but you have 50 million customers. So you're making hand over fist cash, and you have very, very small development costs. These things don't require massive studios. But then later in the cell phone life, where I guess the pinnacle of cell phone gaming or mobile gaming was with like Pokemon Go, and clones of that now. And so things are a little bit more advanced, but they're still not the same. I don't know why. Like there's a hole in the marketplace for that. They can do it. I wonder what would happen if it did. But so is mobile gaming or portable gaming still relevant? Absolutely.
Very, yes. No, I'm 100% with you on that. There is no argument for me here.
I'm dying.
I agree with you though. If before we knew anything about the Switch, it would have been a little bit more of a toss up. But like the Switch has sort of said, yep. Not only is portable gaming back, but it's back with a vengeance.
I will lose my mind if Sony comes out with a Vita 2 or a successor to the Vita, some sort of portable gaming thing that's like really integrated with the PlayStation. There was a running joke that when PlayStation 4 came out, it couldn't detect the Vita.
Oh, yeah.
And so it would actually be an unrecognized device. It would still function, but it was labeled as an unrecognized device, where the PlayStation 3s actually recognized it as the Vita and communicated it. Anyway.
That's funny. Yeah, so, Sony's own device is unrecognized.
Right,
that's the joke, cool. Our last question is kind of these kind of topics we tend to always finish this. It's VR. I beat you to it.
I'm not going to talk about VR. I'm done with that.
No, we aren't. What do you want to see from the future of portable gaming?
So this is, it's not really what I want to see, but it's where things are headed.
Sure.
It's what you were talking about, where there's a couple facets here. Crossplay. That's Fortnite being playable on your phone.
Yep.
So you're getting a downgraded experience to the phone, just like the Switch.
But you can take it to go.
But it's also crossplay with everyone else.
Yep.
And so you can play games with PS4s, Xboxes, PCs, if you turn on that feature. That's one avenue that cell phone games can breach. The future of mobile games that change is that cross-platform play.
Yeah.
So being able to play Fortnite on your Switch with someone on a cell phone, but then where's it headed? Streaming. The streaming wars are upon us. They're about to happen.
And that's going to be the ultimate blur, what we're talking about. That's going to be when mobile gaming, portable gaming, and all of that kind of become one. That's the singularity. I mean, and we've talked about streaming before and talked about how it's very possible that that's where everything becomes, everything. That's what gaming becomes. The device doesn't matter because it's all in the cloud.
At some point, is there a future where the Nintendo Switch 2 has an Xbox app that connects to the Xbox Project X cloud and plays Microsoft exclusive games.
Yeah.
Is that
possible.
a thing? It could be.
Yep.
Will Sony come out with their PlayStation Now, which is a streaming service that allows you to play PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation 2 games? Is there going to be a Sony device that comes out that allows you to play those on the go?
Or are they going to let you just play it on a cell phone or even a Switch possibly? You know what I mean? Like,
and Stadia is the first big push in that direction, is where you can now use your phone, which has Chrome or the Stadia app on it.
Yeah, or your desktop with Chrome installed on it. Yeah.
Or a Chromebook or a Pixel phone or anything, and you can play the same games, and you can pause the game because it's all rendered and run on the servers on the clouds. So it really doesn't matter which device you're using to see that. Your device just becomes a window to the server.
Yeah.
And that really blurs all of this.
Yeah.
All of it. It completely becomes, it doesn't matter what device you're doing. It's just a window to the server somewhere.
Yeah. No, it's, that you kind of hit all the nails on the head. I don't think I had anything to add to that.
Right.
But
yeah, it's coming.
The singularity is coming.
Yeah. And the streaming wars. Which subscription service are you going to pay for?
For sure. All right. Well, I think that's all we have then. All of our questions and all of our discussion. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. I think portable gaming is great.
Yep.
I think it's well.
Is the Virtual Boy a portable gaming system?
Can you remind me what the Virtual Boy is?
It's the red thing on the stand behind you.
The virtual reality one?
Yeah,
where
it's 3D.
You
stick your face in it. Some people say it's portable, some don't. It can run on batteries.
Yeah.
And that's why, because you can take it with you.
Yeah.
And it has a little table stand. You can set it up on any table.
It's its own thing, I would say.
Okay.
It was a early attempt at virtual reality that, when you look at it in the context of the consoles that came after and before it, it stands out as a really odd, kind of like the Game Glove, the Nintendo Game Glove, where it's like, that was an attempt at a controller.
Yep. Not
a good attempt, but an attempt at a controller.
Yeah.
Is it on your controller? I'm trying to actually think here. I don't see the Game Glove on the controller list there. That's an unfortunate omission. There it is. No, I do see it. The Game Glove. It's it's in the middle under the baseball bat.
Yep. Yeah.
That's there.
Funny.
Never mind. Yeah. Great. Because I was looking for it. I was like, where's the Game Glove?
I have a poster hanging up in my room of every controller made for every console from Eternity to the Switch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, let us know what your thoughts on portable gaming are, or whether you think it's still relevant, whether you think there's a future for it. Do you prefer portable gaming over mobile gaming, or vice versa? And why? We want to hear those thoughts and that feedback. So, Termite, tell them once again where they can find us.
This will be the short version. 8bitpodsmash.com. Also, our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Reddit, 80bit Podsmash. Hit us up or hit our Discord link on any of our posts. And you can find us streaming on twitch.tv/80bitpodsmash.
Yeah.
See you next week.
Oh, no, I was going to say, what's the next episode? I was trying to get you to keep talking.
I ran out of things to say. I don't know.
I know. I should have been ahead of this. My bad. Next week, we are going to...
I got to pee real bad, so there's that.
Yeah, you're going to be...
Yeah.
I'm gonna
you got to hurry up.
Yeah,
because I'm dancing.
Next week, we're going to be doing a deep dive. Ooh. We haven't done one of those in a while. And the genre is going to be real-time strategy games. RTS.
Command and Conquer.
Talk about some Age of Empires, some World of War... Or not World of Warcraft. Warcraft 3, StarCraft.
Should be fun.
It'll be great.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it.
Fun.
RTS is a huge genre, way more than just what we've talked about. We haven't talked
Halo
about it
Wars.
Super excited about it. Yeah.
It's going to be great.
Let's just do it now. We'll talk about
it.
Right, welcome to 80 You're not going to pee.
Nope, not going to pee for another hour. Awesome.
All right, see you guys next week where we talk about RTSs.
See you next week.